YouTube B Smokehouse back here with you, and today I got a special one for you. We're gonna be in the kitchen today. So, growing up, I had, I grew up around Texas, from Houston. So as a kid, I remember chicken fried steak. Of course, we don't have no steak here, our cube steak here. So today we're gonna do chicken fried chicken. These are pieces of breast that I've split down the middle, and then I took a pan and then I pounded thin. All right. So this one's a bit thicker. This is gonna be mine. Right. So now we've got to impart some excellent flavor into these breasts. As you know, breasts can be quite bland. As you can see, I've got some of those are herbs from those dill pickles I made. Now, when I brine my chicken, you can see it's a bit empty on the juice. That's because we're going to be using the juice that I took from these as a form of brine. It is a brine, right? It's a dill pickle brine. In this case, it's homemade. I've got a few pieces of garlic floating around in here. I'm going to get that in. This is, again, real simple recipe, guys. Nothing I do here in my kitchen or outside you can't do on your own. Now, I used a lot of salt, a lot of vinegar in that brine. I've tasted it before adding it to this chicken. This brine's going to do two things for me. Add some additional excellent flavor to this chicken. Those spices and herbs going to help to penetrate these chicken breasts. Now, I want to add some other items in here. We've got tons of garlic, tons of salt, tons of vinegar. I like the acidity that it has. It's a little different than vinegar itself. And then we've got some Valentinas. All right. A few drops in there. Valentinas does have salt content in it. So now I'm going to get in here with my hands. Move this around. No real method to the madness. This is my brine. Now, because of the amount of vinegar and amount of salt in this, I won't be leaving it in here overnight. No. This is going to stay in here for the next hour or so. And that's with me checking the tenderness of this chicken every 20 minutes or so. Because I don't want this brine to over tenderize this chicken. Again, this is chicken breast. Right, so a bit bland. So I'm doing everything possible to make sure that my chicken fried chicken is delicious. So this is gonna sit here. I put it back into my fridge. I'll get it covered. It's gonna sit in here for the next 30, 40 minutes, max an hour, right? And then I'll bring you guys back. So this will be my dinner for Mother's Day. I want to make sure I show mothers in my life how much I care for them. And I'm doing that by cooking a nice dinner. Stay tuned. All right, I've removed this chicken from the brine. Again, it's only been about 55 total minutes. My fear that if I let it go on any longer than that, then this chicken might start falling apart. I am going to gently dab this off. I'm not trying to remove all of the seasonings or liquid from the chicken. All right. So now, what I'm going to do is, again, that brine is full of flavor. We have some on the surface. It's also full of salt. So I'm going to hit these with some black pepper. And then for a little pop, I am going to introduce a bit more salt, but it'll be very controlled, sprinkling from my fingers. Alright, so this is actually building layers of flavor. I don't think that this chicken was in that brine long enough for it to just be overly salty. I want to control my use of salt. Now we're going to go ahead and give this chicken a flip. That brine absolutely smells like Italian dressing. Not mad at it. Alright. And again, we're going to go in with our black pepper. I don't want to go that heavy. Remember, black pepper will burn, especially when you're frying it. Alright, that's good enough for me. Okay, and now we're going to go on with a pinch of Diamond Crystal Kosher. Salt's not gonna sit on here long enough to pull all of the moisture out of these chicken breasts, right? Do want to make sure that anybody that bites into these gets a flavorful bite. Now, these are gonna go sit in my fridge probably for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes max, while I start preparing other items for dinner. Again, reliving my childhood through fried chicken. Had I been able to find some nice priced cube steak, we would have been doing some chicken fried steak. That's another favorite of mine. That's for another video. So we're trying to pump some flavor into these chicken breasts. I'll bring you guys back when we're moving on to the next steps. Alright, let's get our dry dredge together. So for today, the base of this dry dredge will be all-purpose flour. Alright, I'm just going to pour what I have left in this bag in there. Feels like it's about a cup or so. Definitely gonna need a lot more than this. Got some other flour here. Should be all-purpose. Looking for a good 2.5 cups of flour. That looks about right. Alright. So now we got our flour. Now we're gonna go in with our seasonings. We're gonna first start off with the paprika. This is smoked paprika. You use whatever paprika you have. Going in with some onion powder. I will have amounts down below in the description. I generally eyeball the seasonings I'm going to use. A little bit of lemon pepper. Italian seasonings. Garlic powder. .16 mesh black pepper, of course. Love pepper. And then we're going to hit it with a little bit of kosher salt, not much at all. Alright. Then my last, actually, before I go in with my last, I'm going to hit this with a teaspoon of baking powder. This helps make sure that things stay crisp. Alright? And a little bit more. Helps make sure things stay crisp. And then I'm going to also, my last ingredient will be a bit of chicken powder. Now this has salt in it, so you don't want to go crazy with it. That's going to be about it. Alright, let's give this a good shake. You can do this in a brown paper bag. I use Ziploc bags. It's easy to get rid of. This is our dredge. You can taste it. I don't recommend eating raw flour. I know this will be good. And besides, we've done everything we can to impart some beautiful flavor to those chicken breasts. This will stay here. I'll bring you guys back when I'm getting ready to get a wet dredge together. And then I'll be showing you guys a solid tip of how to keep your fried chicken pieces crispy. Has to do a lot with keeping everything cold. Not necessarily the dry dredge or the wet dredge, but even after we dredge everything, we're gonna give it a nice rest inside of the fridge. Stay tuned. Alright, let's go ahead and get this wet dredge ready. I've got 2 eggs here. Probably could have got away with using just one. Just 2 eggs. And then we're going to hit it with a splash of milk. Whole milk is best if you have it. I don't. We've stopped drinking whole milk a while ago. And then, so that's what we're looking like. And I'm going to whip them. That's what we're looking like right there. Alright, I'm going to hit this with some black pepper. And a little bit of salt. This is sea salt. That's about it. Again, we've got salt in other areas of this recipe. Quite cautious about my salt use. That brine. When I made those pickles, I went heavy with the salt because, again, I wanted the salt and the dill and that garlic to be highlighted. Salt brings out the other flavors in other items, right? So that's what we're looking for. This is my wet dredge. Give me a little bit. I've got my chicken out here on the counter, and I'll start getting these in the wet dredge, dry dredge. I think we're gonna do a double dip, right? And then get it back into the fridge. Stay tuned. All right, let's go ahead and get these chicken pieces coated. I am working with my hands. They have been washed. I've got some gloves. However, these are the large service preparation gloves. Pretty large, and even when you got them on your fingers, your hands, you don't shape quite well. So here's what I'm doing. I'm grabbing a piece of chicken. We're going to get it into the wet dredge. Give it a bit of a shake. And then it's going into my bag here, the dry dredge. Alright. I'm going one piece at a time. It's in there. And we're going to shake. Going to shake. I give it a few squeezes in the bag. Go in with my fingers. This is what we're looking like. A few shakes to get that excess off. And then I'm going back into my wet dredge. One thing about fried chicken is that you want that texture even when you got gravy on. That's how we're looking. We're going to shake off the excess. You can see a lot of those black pepper particles stayed on. That's due to me putting this chicken back in the fridge, keeping everything cold. The cold air has done its job, dried out and formed a pellicle over that skin. And then we're going to give it one more shake. Give it a few squeezes. And a nice shake to get the excess flour off. And this is how we're looking. Could have even, I'm not going to do it, but I could have even went in my wet dredge with my dry dredge, right, to get some of those particles that's falling off the chicken inside of that wet dredge. And that's how you make those crusties. I'm not going to do that. You guys don't need to see me wet and dry dredge all 4 pieces of these. I've shown you one. I'll bring you guys back when I got these all dredged up. We're going to get them back into the fridge to let the coolness of the air adhere this wet and dry dredge. We get a nice crispy crusty product. Stay tuned. Alright, here are all my 4 chicken breast cutlets. We've got them wet dredged and dry dredge. These will go ahead and sit in my fridge for the next 20, 25, 30 minutes. I'll go ahead and bring my grease up to temperature, and we'll get to frying. Stay tuned. Alright, here's how we're looking. Our chicken breast cutlets have been in the fridge for probably about 45 minutes to an hour. So you see that flour has hydrated. That's what you want. It's going to be stuck to the chicken, and that's the main goal. You don't want this coating floating in your oil, right? Again, we are using a healthier cut of chicken by using breast. However, I will tell you this is probably not the healthiest recipe due to the breading, right? So let's swing back over. I've got my love making some gravy. Wait until that comes to a boil, then we're gonna turn it down to a simmer. And then now I've got my thermometer here at 375. I'm going to back off my fire just a tad bit, and I'm getting ready to start dropping some chicken. All right, I'm going to start off with one of these smaller pieces first. And again, it's still super cold. That's what you want. And then we're dropping it. And peanut oil is what we're using for this cook today. It is not known as a neutral oil. However, the smoking point of this oil is up there to where you won't smoke your house out. And we do good things with this, and fried catfish and everything else outside. Plus, it has an awesome flavor. So we're gonna let this go probably for a good 6 to 7 minutes. Again, this piece of chicken breast was pretty thin. I'm gonna stand here and watch it. I'm looking for golden brown and delicious. That will let me know when this is done. Stay tuned. Alright, I've removed that initial first piece. I'm going to give this a minute or two to come back up to temperature. Maybe in between 350, 355, 365, all the way up to 375. Here's that piece of chicken. We're going to let this sit here and cool off. If you want, you can get your oven preheated, lowest setting, throw your chicken in there. It'll make sure it'll help that grease drain off. I do have a towel on this. It'll also make sure that it helps your chicken breast to stay nice, juicy, and crispy. Stay tuned. Alright, we're done with that largest piece. This one lasts about 10 to 11 minutes because of the size. These are a bit thinner, so we're still going to stick to the 6 to 8 minute mark. I've been flipping halfway in between, and then when I pull these out, I hit them with a bit of sea salt. Just a few sprinkles while it's still hot. Bring you guys back when I'm done with this and I'm getting ready to put a plate together. Stay tuned. Alright, here is all my fried chicken pieces. Let's start putting some plates together. YouTube, we back. Here's the finished and final product. Again, this is some sweet peas, more like stewed sweet peas. And of course, I got some awesome mashed potatoes and gravy. Then I've got the star of the show, fried chicken with gravy on top. Again, I want to save this to give you guys a try. Don't want the gravy tainting the flavor. I know the gravy's good. Again, let's talk about what we did to this piece of fried chicken. I took some chicken breasts off camera. I split them. I made myself a brine using some of my homemade pickle juice that I made. In that brine, I also put a bit of buttermilk and some hot sauce, Valentina's to be exact. We let that set for about 50-55 minutes due to the amount of vinegar and salt content I put in those actual pickle juice, those dill pickles, right? I didn't want it to start eating away at the meat, but we do want those proteins to become denatured, all right? And then from there, I dabbed them off, got them a bit drier than they were, and I hit them with some salt and pepper just to ensure that we got some salt and pepper throughout. And then I came and I made my wet dredge, I made my dry dredge. You saw all the seasoning I used. They will be down in the description below. Next, we used the wet and dry dredge to get these coated. We put them back in the fridge. This is a cooking pro tip. You want crispy chicken, even if you're doing a whole chicken, even if you're doing chicken pieces, you want to cut a whole chicken out and part out your pieces. Once you dredge them, some people go straight into the grease with them. Once you dredge them wet or dry dredge, put them back in the fridge for 10, 15, 20 minutes and then go straight in that hot grease. Now, for the taste test. All right, let's go. Again, this is chicken breast. The brining procedure was done to ensure that these breasts aren't all dried out. I'll tell you if we were able to achieve that right now. All right, I got it already tainted with the gravy. See that? Let's see what we got. It's definitely flavorful. That's really good. For something as simple and something that lacks flavor, such as the chicken breast, all of the steps we took were in a chance to amplify the flavors of this, and we were able to do that. The breading is delicious. I think I could have just used salt and pepper along with that brine, and we would have been fine. Of course, the gravy adds some moistness to it, and the gravy is packing its own flavor. Hey, if you haven't done so, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, Beast Smokehouse out.